Hello and welcome inside the Sanford Coyote Sports Center, talking USD women's basketball one final time for the 2018-19 season. Clemson, of course, Dawn brought an end to that special season on Friday in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But what a ride for this team this year. And so now that you've had a couple of days to reflect on everything, how are you feeling about what you experienced this past season?
Well, what this group of young ladies accomplished certainly was special at a number of different levels, and really, I guess, can be defined best as a season of many firsts, and set the bar very, very high for our program. You know, with the first year that our team has a chance to beat a ranked opponent, we did it at home against Iowa State, and then turn around and beat a ranked opponent on the road at Missouri, and win the most games ever in Division I school history during the regular season at 26. And have a chance to be ranked at the national level for the first time ever in school history, and then to do something that hasn't been done in the Summit League as it's been known, in terms of getting an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, our second ever in school history, and just a season of so many really special moments along the journey that certainly our young ladies will take with them for the rest of their lives.
A lot of great accomplishments that you just listed off there. So what was it about this team? And go back and think all the way back to last summer. What about this team made them special and made them capable of something like this?
Well, I think what this group did better than any group that I've ever had a chance to coach is that they looked at it during the course of the summer months, like you talked about, and put together their standards of what they expected of themselves and how they wanted to hold themselves and each other accountable in terms of the work ethic that they were looking to put forward. And then they certainly had goals through the entire year, but I think what this group did a really good job of was competing on a daily level and letting their competition level continue to carry them, and really trusted the process, and then each day continued to get better. While doing all that, they had very good chemistry and had a great care factor for each other, and really took care of each other throughout all of it. Very selfless group, and I think certainly that speaks volumes when you have a leader like Elsen who really kind of set that tone for us.
So how did this group and all that they accomplished this past season change the expectations within your program?
Well, I think what certainly this team did this year gave us a taste of something we haven't seen before, and a taste of something that is very sweet and something that we want to continue to be a part of. And then we've got to go back to to the work that it took to get to that point, and then figure out how to work smarter and maybe how to work harder, but I don't know if that's necessarily something that you can really quantify, but you can look at, tracking and improving in different ways. And so certainly I think this group gave itself an opportunity to see what's out there and now explore something that hasn't been done, and had a lot of fun doing it. And I think certainly is going to want to repeat and have some fun with it again in the future.
All right, let's turn our eyes to that future now. And you do lose one senior. You mentioned her name, Allison Arns. You don't just go and replace an Allison Arns. And I know you as a coach are very well aware of that. But of the women that she's leaving behind, who are you going to be leaning on to help fill that void next season? Well,
first let's talk about Allison Arns for a second.
Sure, let's do it.
Allison graduates from our program and will graduate here from the University of South Dakota after she finishes her student teaching. But she will leave left an incredible mark on our program. In her 4-year career, she will have won more games than any USD women's basketball player that's ever played before her. She won 112 games. Only lost, I think it was 28 games, has an 80% winning record. That's just phenomenal. On top of that, she finished in the top 10 in scoring, in assists, and in steals in her record and during her career. Just something that's really, really special, and did it quietly.
Yeah.
Did it very, very quietly, and was really a very humble, selfless young lady. So you're right, to replace her is not something that we expect one player to step in and do it, but I think it's collectively as a group. All of our returning young ladies and our incoming ladies are going to have to really work to pick up some of that, what we're going to miss from Allison. And I think we have some young ladies coming off the bench this year that we really expect their minutes to continue to grow, and I think certainly our starters the same way, but I think certainly when you look at some kids that certainly can step up and help us with some of those things, and who had very good years this year. I thought off the bench, certainly Hannah Shervin did an awful lot of good for us. And then Monica Arns, Allison's little sister, certainly is a young lady who we think her future is incredibly bright, and Liv Korngable the same way. It's just 3 ladies in particular that we expect their roles to continue to grow and to flourish. And we really believe that Claudia Kunzer is really in that same category. You're never going to coach a young lady that has more energy, enthusiasm, brings more more to the table than Claudia Kunzer does, and just has so much fun, but also her skill level is continuing to progress, and that's really, really important for us.
Now, as far as the fresh faces are concerned, you signed 3 players out of high school in November. How do you, or what kind of impact do you expect them to have next season?
I think it all depends certainly how things kind of work out when they get here, and I do think what all 3 of them have is a very high level of competitiveness and relentlessness, and they've also been coached at a very high level, which allows them to step onto the court and know how to be, you know, how to make adjustments and how to change things in their game fairly quickly. And, you know, certainly Janiyah Ugofsky here from our direct area, from the Sioux Falls, Harrisburg actually area, and a young lady from South Dakota who has competed for state championships and has played at a very high level and just plays incredibly, incredibly hard. I think between Monica Arns and Janiyah, it's going to be a battle between who tries to take more charges during the course of practices and games, so that'll be really fun. And then certainly from the Minneapolis area, Macy Giebert is a young lady who we anticipate coming in, just understands the game, knows how to move the ball, share the ball, but also can fill it up and can really shoot it and can get to the rim and can score. And a young lady who won a state championship, which is challenging to do in any state, but certainly in the state of Minnesota, you know, some very, very good basketball, and competed again this year in the state tournament. Alexi Hempy is a young lady who is in a different type of setting because it's more of a homeschool type of setting, but competes at a very, very high level, traveling around the country in terms of their league and their independent basketball league that they've played in, and someone who just has a great hunger to be the best that she can be, and it'll be fun. She's very versatile, 6-foot, kind of prototype type of a player, can play just about anywhere on the court. With
those players in mind, is there anything else from a personnel standpoint that you feel like you're missing or that you'd like to add before next year?
Well, I think the most important thing for us is that each of our players continues to be hungry and each of our players continues to get better. And certainly that's something that we've looked at since our last game on how can we go about doing that and what does that look like this year compared to years in the past, and what are some specific areas that we can focus on during this off season and during the summer. And I think some of it's very different than what we've done in the past, and I think that's exciting. It'll be fun for our players at the same time because it's something that rejuvenates you. It's a long journey and it's a lot of prep time, and so when we can find different ways to accomplish improving our skill level, it's a lot of fun for our players and certainly fun for our coaches to keep us all rejuvenated and having a good time with it. All right, Dawn. Well, congrats on an amazing season, a historic season here at the University of South Dakota. We touched on that, but also just thanks for all your access, your time for us this year and following along with that ride. Well, we certainly appreciate what you do for us, Jay. We appreciate our fans. One of the records we haven't talked about is that this year we averaged over 2,400 fans per game in the SCSC, and that was the best in the Summit League. So we led our competition in that, and that's something that certainly gives us a great advantage. And as far as we know, it could be the best home attendance ever in school history as well. So something that's really special for us to celebrate with our fans, and we thank them for that. So thank you. All right, a lot of exciting things going on with USD women's basketball, and the future certainly bright as well. So thanks again, Dawn Plitzuweit, head coach of Coyote women's basketball.